On the country. Our Africa correspondent Tim Hewitt reports.
There can seldom have been a more difficult political act to follow than Nelson Mandela. His successor, Thabo MBeki, knows he can't match the Mandela charisma and knows too that he'll never achieve the almost saint-like status of the man who came to symbolize the struggle against white oppression here. But no one doubts Thabo Mbeki's political abilities, least of all Nelson Mandela himself.
I want to congratulate him for the dynamic leadership that he has given. And as I retire to my village, I know the organization is in good hands. Thank you.
But opposition leaders like the Democratic Party's Tony Leon accuse Mbeki of trying to disguise his real intentions.
On the one hand, he has put forward a very narrow Africanist vision, where he continuously makes reference to the fact that whites have not sacrificed enough, or whites need to make more compromises. On the other hand, he speaks of a more inclusive South Africanism, which would obviously be in the spirit of Mr. Mandela, but it's not clear on which side of his own argument, or dialectic to use a term he prefers, he's going to come down upon.
Thabo Mbeki is anxious to be seen at ease among the ANC's grassroots supporters, but he has a reputation as a tough, pragmatic politician. Now he's confident that he'll be given a strong mandate to run the country.
I think that you will have a good election, and the governments will emerge from the election which nobody will have any doubt about, as to the fact that they genuinely have been elected on the basis of the will of the people.
In the past, the Zulu-based Inkatha Freedom Party has been the ANC's fiercest rival for the black vote. But now there is talk of reconciliation and suggestions that IFP leader Chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi may become South Africa's deputy president.
Mr. MBeki has spoken about a national consensus. Because you see, when you look at the poverty of black people in this country and the way things are in this country, there are some issues on which one should not behave on a partisan way.
Nelson Mandela preached reconciliation after his release from jail and subsequent elevation to the presidency. Mr. Mbeki favours transformation. That may worry many whites still accustomed to a life of relative privilege, but it's encouraging for ANC supporters who feel the party has failed to deliver on many of its promises. Mr. Mbeki's backers say that at a time when tough leadership is needed here, he's the man for the job.
The crew of the US space shuttle Discovery have become the first astronauts to dock with the orbiting International Space Station. The shuttle, carrying 5 Americans, 1 Canadian and 1 Russian, steadily closed before the tricky final docking, one for which the infant space station was not designed. The shuttle was supposed to dock to a 3rd Russian component with sophisticated control and propulsion systems, but that's been delayed. The final docking required precise coordination between Discovery and the Russian ground controllers. Back on Earth, thousands of sun-seekers found themselves grounded at London's Heathrow.
Of the class of '99. Wear sunscreen.
Depending on your point of view, these are either words of great wisdom or a series of mundane observations. But if you haven't heard this monologue already, you soon will.
Do one thing every day that scares you. Sing. Don't be reckless with other people's hearts. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours.
The story of how this speech came to be a hit is almost as bizarre as the record itself. Originally written as spoof advice for high school graduates in an American newspaper column, it was then transferred onto the internet by a fan and then emailed around the world. One of the recipients of that email was the Australian film director Baz Luhrmann. He mixed it with music from the soundtrack of his film Romeo and Juliet, and the result was a cult hit.
Get to know your parents. You never know when they'll be gone for good. Be nice to your siblings. They're your best link to your past and the people most likely to stick with you in the future.
But even converts to the song have their doubts.
Don't be afraid of it.
I don't think it's one of those records that you'll hear in 2 years' time and go, oh, I love this one. I think it's one of those records you'll hear in 2 years and go, ah, not this again.
Every summer sees a rash of holiday hits made famous in touristy nightclubs around the world. Remember the Macarena, the Birdie Song and Agadoo?
Enjoy your body.
Well, like it or loathe it, 1999 could be the year of this song.
But trust me, on the sunscreen.
Katie Derham, ITN.
And that's all from the ITV Morning News team. GM